2 new colors came out for the Gibson Victory. The TV Yellow Satin, which in my opinion, I don't think this body style pulls that off great, but hey, there's a lot of TV Yellow lovers out there. But then they've also brought out a dark purple burst. I feel it pulls off this finish a little bit better, but my favorite has to be the Iguana burst yet on these. Gibson brought back the Tobias bases. First impressions when I saw these things come back was, wow, Gibson's really stepping up their bass game. Because we've got neck-through ones, beautiful quilty maple, you've got more regular mahoganies, as well as looks like ash. And I was looking at these prices like $2,300, $2,200, with all that fanciness coming from the Gibson family of brands. So my biggest question was, where are these being made? Because it cannot be the USA, especially if they're doing the Firebird platypus and not doing neck-throughs in the factory. And looking at the serial number format, I believe these are made at the same factories all the Epiphones are, which in that case makes sense. This is a really fancy boy with abalone in the headstock. It's a 5-string bass, complete neck through with all the fancy wood grain on top of that. That's a really slick looking bass. That comes in a natural satin as well as a transparent black satin, which, yeah, it's cool, but something about those natural woods just works so well on the Classic 5. If 5 strings are too much, they also have the exact same thing in the 4-string variation. Looks like available in left and right-handed. That'll make some people happy. Exact same price, same coloring schemes as well. And here's what the back looks like. So that's like the Cadillac. Now you can move down to their solid-bodied ones. The cheapest one is $1,400, coming in a satin natural, white pearl, and black pearl. Makes me think of like an Ibanez. I'd have to stick natural for that beautiful wood grain. But this version is a bolt-on neck, but you still have a 3-piece neck construction on these. And regardless of the finish you choose, you actually get to see the neck's wood. That's actually a really good choice. But just like our previous one, they also have the exact same thing available in a 5-string model. But our next one, also available in a 4-string and a 5-string. I'm surprised, Sapele. Usually Gibson just still calls them mahogany. In fact, I forgot to check. Is that ash? No, it's not. Paulownia. Really? It can be figured like ash? If you want to hear a Paulownia guitar of mine, it was actually a Dean EVO. I picked it up off of Facebook Marketplace a long time ago and said, hey, this looks like a fun review. And it was. So apparently Paulownia can look pretty cool. So if you're a bassist and you're like, yes, if you want a new Guitar Day one, sure, I'll make the review. In fact, somebody actually reached out to me about a very early, potentially the first Tobias bass made under the new Gibson ownership of the company. If I remember correctly, that's like early 90s. So this has been a long time coming. I'm just not the target demographic to talk about it. But his guitar was cool with like a whole bunch of crazy inlays. So even if we don't review one of these new ones, maybe one day that one will make it to me. I kind of forget where we left off on that. Now let's see if they do some more Steinbergers. Here was a recently listed 2018 Firebird. So this version had the P90 pickups, no binding, dot inlays, so kind of took a lot of the non-reverse elements but kept everyone's favorite body style. But it's not neck through, it's set neck, you don't have the raised portion. But I just thought that wood had this nice wood grain and chatoyance to it. This guy knew what he was doing taking a picture right here by his window. It looks like he's including a pretty interesting strap with it. All things considered, not too bad of a price. This was kind of a cool triple P90 non-reverse that was apparently previously owned by Jimmy Page and John Bonham, offered for sale by ATB Guitars for nearly $90,000. The story goes as this was once Jimmy Page's, but John Bonham won it from him in a game of spoof. But it was originally purchased at Mike Ladd's Guitar City in Memphis, Tennessee, along with a purple Les Paul. And this has been modified with the Jaguar style pickup switching, refinished into ebony, has a new pickguard and a custom-made plaque to cover the old short vibrola holes. Although it's unsure if Jimmy ever actually seriously used this guitar in any recordings. But John kept it and gave it to his business partner in 1978. And then that partner held on to it for the last 45 years and decided now it's time to sell. Overall, I would say the refinish work was pretty decent. Looks like we got a pretty sizable crack on it, but the custom-made plaque, that's certainly not factory installed, as they've alluded to, due to the screws being used to put it into place. But the triple P90 touch is very nice. Looks like you can see a little bit of gold paint over here by the nut. That is certainly a lot of fun. Then I personally collect early 90s Firebirds because that's the initial rebirth of them. I don't remember if I've shared this one before or not, but this is another one of those that was apparently a NAMM show display piece and kind of like this gold silver sparkle finish. It is pretty cool. And as much as I love my Firebird collection, I'm starting to think about letting them go because I just hate the celluloid pick guards and how they off-gas and shrink. I love the guitars, it's just they seem to eat and destroy themselves, and not having the pick guard on it bugs me. But they're so cool at the same time. Custom colors is the way to go when you're a bird collector. But this one has all the typical discolorations from the tuners. And it's a custom shop original. That is certainly a sight to behold, and you can bet your butt it's got finish checking all over it. What's even more fun is you got Tom Murphy's signature in the neck pickup cavity. You would do that on guitars that he would finish. And it looks like we got some provenance to it. But that's over at Diablo Guitars, listed for $22,000. This 1982 Firebird was cool. The Firebird just has a long history of, when they do it, they don't do it to 60s specs. And it's because the 60s versions are problematic with their headstocks breaking off. Well, this one has a smaller headstock style, but at least it's still slightly raised, and it's neck through. But it's the unbound fretboard with the dot inlays. It essentially blends a 5 and a 1 together. But somebody's routed this one for a DiMarzio in the bridge, and that double cream with the black and somebody putting their name Axe on it just really plays off well with that dark finish. And it's clearly been used, maybe a little bit abused, but I bet it's got a lot of rock left in it, even though it appears to have been broken and repaired. Here's a circa 2012-ish version of what Gibson offered in the Firebird lineup, this time with mini humbucker surrounds. I just thought this one was kind of cool because of the figuring within the body. Again, wood grain lottery stuff, but dot inlays, unbound. These were relatively inexpensive at the time, if I remember correctly, like around $1,300-ish brand new, but it was satin finished, a little bit cheaper, but a lot of fun. Piggybacking off of that one, when this one was first listed, I was like, oh yeah, a white one. And it's got the pick guards that I love but hate at the same time. Now, unfortunately, this was a refinish, but I thought it was kind of tasteful. I like the racing stripes they put right there by the neck, going through the body. I could totally see early 90s Gibson doing something like that. And then, hey, look at that headstock. They matched it with the pick guard. But as far as the back, it looks like they left it relatively alone. That one's by Griffin Crayons on Reverb. He's asking $3,500. Here's a listing from France. I had to click on it because it just called it Gibson LPSTNT, which I would assume stands for Les Paul Studio Natural, but no, that's not what this is at all. It's one of the Swamp Ash studios. All right. Now the big question is it maple neck or mahogany? It's one of the mahogany ones. But this one has such incredible wood grain on the top. That's very cool. But it does look like somebody unfortunately added a Les Paul custom style pickguard on it and covered that over a bit. Swamp Ash on Gibson is a lot of fun. But next we've got an SG by the Zoo. Custom Shop did that whole aged Pelham Blue thing, but this one's got the Super 400 inlays. I don't think those work as well on an SG as they do on the Les Pauls. It almost draws too much attention to the fretboard. But it's certainly unique and you don't find that every day. So just for fun, I thought we'd check in on the European demo shop. First off, check this out. Shell Pink 1 humbucker Les Paul Custom. And it's a wrap tail. They ruined it with the pick guard, but that certainly is an interesting piece. It'll take the very right buyer to appreciate the whole one pickup nature of it as well as being shell pink, but get this. Not only is it the unique finish and being a Les Paul Custom, but it's 70s spec'd. Look at that logo. That's the 70s reissue style. Look at the back. It's got the volute, most likely a 3-piece neck. It got rejected because of a ding, so that just has a whole bunch of stuff going on for it. A bit of 50s, 60s, and 70s. But it's pricey at $7,500 for a B stock. And this Les Paul Classic for 2022, I think it has something to do with the way that they're taking the photos, that the grain just gets heavily accentuated, but it looks great. Even the back. So I thought that was worthy of a share. And then the UK demo shop, I want to know what's going on with these guys' pricing. Like, I get that value added tax gets added to these. So for example, if we bought a brand new Rick Beato in the United States, those are $2,000. Generally, we have a sales tax anywhere between 5 and 10%. So even at 10%, we'd be paying $22.50 for a brand new one. And I get it. Import duties and taxes, it's more expensive to ship things over there. But a B stock for $25, that just doesn't make any sense. Here was another pretty bad offender. These were $1,000 brand new, and you could find them blown out for like $800, and sometimes even as cheap as like $600. And this is B stock at $1,750. Great guitars, just not worth that kind of money. Here's another example of that. Dave Mustaine, $3,150. these are only $2,200 brand new. Even if we added 20% onto that, that's about $2,600, which puts it right there. That just seems expensive for a non-first quality. But I also know firsthand how expensive it is to ship things overseas, but I'm sure they have a way to get the price down when they're shipping that many things. But that's my little bonus rant for tonight's episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow on the next one. Take care.